Your Excellency, Charles Savre, the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Savre, my wife Melissa, and our two children, Honorable Reginald Ostry, Deputy Prime Minister, and Mrs. Ostry, Your Ladyship, Justice Bernie Stevenson, Senior Resident Judge, Your Ladyship, Justice Victoria Charles Clark, Resident Judge, Your Lordship, the Most Reverend Gabriel Malzer, Bishop of Roosevelt, Your Excellency Eliud Williams, former President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Williams, Honorable Cabinet colleagues and spouses, Honorable Lennox Linton, Leader of the Opposition, and Mrs. Linton, His Excellency Jorge Alberto Arriaza, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Venezuela, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, and other visiting dignitaries and spouses, Your Worship, Mayor Irene John and Mr. John, Chairman of Commissions, His Excellency Steve Farrell, Secretary to the Cabinet, and Mrs. Farrell, Permanent Secretaries and spouses, representatives of international organizations, Pastor David Serra, Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches, awardees, distinguished guests, members of the media, fellow Dominicans, ladies and gentlemen, good evening all. Fellow Dominicans, wherever you may be, and through whatever medium you are joining us on this momentous occasion, good evening and happy Independence to all. God is good, and all the time. 13 months ago, we woke to a Dominica none of us could have imagined. We turned then to Almighty God, and we asked of Him two blessings: guidance and assistance. Today, just over 400 days later, He has guided us and He has assisted us. He has been good to us in Dominica. To God be the glory, great things He hath done. As we survey the social and economic landscape of this our beautiful country, it is indeed appropriate that we stop and give thanks. That we stop and chronicle the wondrous works of Almighty God in restoring this country to a land of beauty and bounty. We heard in recent weeks about the state of sister countries and locations 12 months following the passage of Hurricane Maria. Those of us in touch with family and friends in other weather-battered countries and locales would know of their progress or lack thereof 2, 3, and 4 years after similar devastation. Many victims of disasters in foreign lands, near and far, yearn to achieve the comfort and peace of mind that the vast majority of Dominicans enjoy today. We have not reached the promised land as yet, my dear people, but we sure are on our way. We are not today speaking ill of or decrying anyone. What we are saying is that with the guidance and assistance of Almighty God, we have fought the good fight, and notwithstanding the gloom and pessimism of some in our midst, we are today winning the battle. Indeed, during the past week, I moved around Dominica and I saw the progress that we have made. It was not the buildings and new bridges that left me in a sense of awe. Not the work of the Dominica Strong campaign, not the hundreds of homes completed or under construction, not the fruits, food, and vegetables under cultivation, or those that are already making their way to market. None of these things that were not here or evident 13 months ago triggered my emotion. Nothing impacted me as much did the smiles and looks of contentment on the faces of Dominican children, parents, and godparents alike. When I saw the hustle and bustle in Roosevelt and Portsmouth these past few days, and when I took note of the total transformation on the faces of persons who grimaced in pain and disbelief 13 short months ago, I couldn't help but reflect and say to myself, Hurricane Maria has been defeated. Hurricane Maria messed with the wrong island. It attempted to weaken and destroy the spirits of the wrong people. Dominicans may get knocked down, but they do not stay down for long. I said to myself then, and I say to you today, my sisters and brothers, Dominica is back. Dominica is moving. Dominica is on the road again. Thanks be to God. We are here on the 40th anniversary of our national independence, winning the war against suffering. We are winning the war against homelessness and hopelessness, against high unemployment, against inadequate or non-existent insurance funds to repair our homes. We are today, ladies and gentlemen, reason from the destruction wrought on our island by a series of natural disasters. Those of us who live here may tend to take for granted the phenomenal strides that have been made since Hurricane Maria. But I invite you today to speak with frequent visitors, speak with family and friends who visited Dominica during the last 100 days of 2017 and who are back with us now for the World Choral Music Festival and National Independence Day celebrations. And do not just appreciate the strides we have made, juxtapose them against the sacrifices that were not asked of you, the people of Dominica. Devastated by the worst disaster in the history of this island, with damage and losses to the tune of 226% of GDP, Dominican workers were not deprived in the last 13 months of a single salary in the public service. And there was not even a late payday in the public service. Not a single government worker was sent home or placed on reduced working hours. No social service was cut or withheld. Indeed, many were improved and enhanced. There was no increase in taxes or in levies. Indeed, far from increases, there was a suspension of the payment of taxes and other impositions on most imported items. Schools did not remain closed for an inordinate time, and water and electricity were returned to communities as early as was humanly possible. You were here, ladies and gentlemen. You saw the workers of Dominica and Duasco, aided by their foreign counterparts, and the way they worked day and night, performing miracles in some instances to get us moving again. They were fit for purpose. They had never grappled with destruction of that nature. And I think a year later, overall, they are to be applauded for the fantastic work they did for us. I think today also of the developers who front-loaded money in anticipation of the revenues from the Citizenship by Investment Program and aid and assistance from the international community. Had we waited on cash in hand, ladies and gentlemen, those 341 homes being constructed at Bellevue Chopin would not be at the advanced stage of readiness that they are at today. Houses built in Soufriere constituency and the Kalanago territory would not today be ready for occupation. Had we not taken the leap of faith and proceeded with the Dominica Strong campaign that has cleared rivers and water courses, we would have been, in this current hurricane season, a sitting duck of nature. Had we not proactively engaged with our partners and friends in the international community, our progress this wondrous day would not have been anywhere near what is evident for all to see. But guided by Almighty God and inspired by the never say die spirit and attitude of you, the people of Dominica, we took a leap of faith and we embarked on an ambitious campaign to make Dominica strong once more. Indeed, we not only set out to make Dominica strong, we have set ourselves the goal of becoming the first climate resilient nation in the world. Bookies who gave this plan 100 to 1 odds of success 12 months ago are now conceding that prospects are good for total accomplishment. Let there be no doubt about it, my dear people. Dominica is on course to realizing its goals, and we are determined that it shall be climate resilient in the next 5 years. Today, as you survey the physical landscape of Dominica, there is no distinguishing line between those who had savings or insurance payouts and those who had none. All are being assisted, all are being helped to get back up and to stand on their feet with pride and dignity. And if to this day you have not been assisted, I personally would like to hear your case, because we have made resources available to assist persons in getting the roof back over their heads. And it upsets me that the wishes and will of the government are not being manifested in all communities. We are determined as a government to ensure that every individual Dominican is assisted in restoring his or her life to a satisfactory standard, and indeed to improve status beyond pre-Hurricane Maria levels. My dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we have much to be thankful for today. Businesses have been assisted. Farmers have received agricultural inputs, technical assistance, and direct monetary grants. Fisher folk have been assisted in their quest to rebuild better and upgrade their boats and improve their equipment. Healthcare at home and abroad has continued apace, and our children on campuses in the West Indies and further afield were assisted directly in coping with the challenges they confronted. Note, my dear people, I am not saying it is the government that has done all this. I think the credit is yours. We have done it all together. We did our part as the government, and you responded as a mature, responsible people. It is you who looked out for your neighbor. You carried a meal for the elderly lady or gentleman down the street. You removed the debris and the fallen trees that were blocking the road. You helped Dominica and Duasco pull their lines, laid their pipes, and replaced their poles. You redirected the visitor who was headed down a blocked road. You cut the bush and pour a little concrete in the road to fill the potholes created by the persistent bad weather. You have all helped to make Dominica what it is today, and what on this 40th anniversary of independence it is on course to becoming. It was not easy for any of us, ladies and gentlemen. We did it against odds. We did it against the pessimism and gloom of some in our midst. I admire the fact that just a few still listen to the negativity of those who appear dead set against progress. Sometimes I hear the doomsday commentaries and I shake my head in disbelief. Not a single positive vibe can fall from their lips. There is nothing about Dominica today that they find positive or inspiring, and that is very sad. Not for us, but for them, ladies and gentlemen. But then, against the backdrop of negativity, I receive your mails, WhatsApp messages, and phone calls telling us, your government, to press on. Telling us that the majority of Dominicans are with us and that they have faith and confidence in what we are doing and our ability to succeed as a nation. Our faith and energy as a government are also bolstered by the encouragement and assistance of friends and well-wishers from abroad. Time does not permit me to identify individual countries, organizations, and individuals on this occasion. But I know there are many in this audience who have helped personally and who are today representing agencies and countries that have helped in the rebuilding process. And right now, at this very moment, I want them to stand. I want all of you who are representing countries, organizations, entities to stand so the people of Dominica can say thanks to you. Please, my friends. Stand, our sisters and brothers from across the globe, and be applauded by a grateful people. We are certainly grateful for your assistance. Whether you're here in a personal capacity or are here representing a government, an overseas agency, institution, or country, we want to say thanks to you. We want to say how grateful we are. Had it not been for you, we would not be here today celebrating and giving thanks. We could not have done it without you. Please convey to your government, board of directors, and governing bodies our heartfelt thanks and appreciation for all you have done. Dominica is today on a forward track because of friends and well-wishers such as yourselves. We thank you profoundly and profusely. Today, I just saw in the audience the Secretary General of CARICOM, Ambassador Larocque, and also the Director General of the OACS Commission, Dr. Didicus Jules. Two Dominicans, really, you know. Thank you. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I am proud of Dominica at 40. Do not be confused by the material impact of our misfortune. Money will, in due time, buy it all back. We have preserved what money could not buy: our pride, our honor, and our dignity. We have fought the good fight, my dear people, and today I declare we are winning the war. In recent years, we have focused a lot of attention on our seniors. They are the ones who helped to build this land. They did it back then for little or no reward. And this is why I believe strongly that we must never, as a subsequent generation, trivialize the contributions of those who have gone before us. We are fortunate that thousands are still around to provide maternal and paternal guidance to an upcoming generation. We all speak today of Hurricane Maria, but I want you to cast your minds back on the last decade. We have had more than our fair share of natural disasters, and I know that our seniors bore the brunt of these weather systems. Those of us working ages are fortunate to be in a position to have the strength, knowledge, wisdom, and opportunity to continue earning so as to better ourselves. We are fast approaching a stage in Dominica where, with the opening of several major hotels next year, hundreds of us may be able to consider and contemplate a second job. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Indeed, we shall encourage it. But our seniors get by on a set income. Prices rise, but their earning capacity is contained and constrained. They are some of the most vulnerable amongst us. As we celebrate the 40th anniversary of independence, and as we approach the Christmas and holiday season, I believe that we owe it as a government and as a grateful nation to make sure that our seniors have life's essentials: clothes on their backs, roofs over their heads, and food on their tables, with the peace of mind of knowing that there is a doctor's fee somewhere handy should it be required in an emergency. Our earnings from the Citizenship by Investment program continue to be high. We are grateful for this, especially when one recalls the attempt by one of our very own to discredit our CBI program on American television just a few years ago. We are particularly proud of the work of those who forged ahead and have today made Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program #1 in the English-speaking Caribbean. Do not let the purveyors of hatred and misinformation confuse you, my dear people. By any measure, using whatever yardstick we choose, Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program is the most successful in the Caribbean today. It has served to bring us back from the brink of collapse following the passage of successive weather systems and it is today the source of funds that I will be using as Minister for Finance to ensure that our seniors end the year 2018 with a smile on their faces. Yesterday, I instructed the Financial Secretary to prepare the necessary paperwork for there to be an appropriate authorization for the granting of a one-off gratuity payment to the lowest paid categories of pensioners in Dominica. Those who currently receive $300 a month as a non-contributory pension shall, in the month of December, receive a total of $500. Those who receive between $300 and $500 each month, having contributed to the pension scheme over the years, shall next month receive an extra $300 as a top-up and as a gesture of this country saying thank you for services rendered. As time goes by and the finances of the country improve, there are other categories of seniors and other individuals whom we shall also identify and to whom we shall also express our gratitude. Indeed, whilst I'm at it, ladies and gentlemen, I want to highlight the contributions of a few heroes in our midst. There are hundreds of young Dominicans who, ever since your Labour Party administration assumed office in 2000, have benefited from scholastic opportunities abroad. There are those who were fortunate to receive full scholarships, and there were those whose parents had to finance their tuition and who themselves had to take out loans. I am particularly impressed with those who borrowed money from the Student Revolving Loan Fund and who, against all the pessimism and gloom preached daily by some in our midst, returned to our country, Dominica, to contribute to the development of our island. Their skills and knowledge have been a tremendous asset to Dominica in this build-back period. They could have remained abroad and earned, as Chuck the sang, the Yankee dollar. But they chose to return to Dominica and be part of the building and rebuilding process. They work each month and they make the sacrifice of repaying their loans. There are also those who, unfortunately, have not yet found employment or satisfactory employment, but who are still bonded by law to repay their debts. We need them home, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot be training our citizens for the benefit of other countries and economies. We need their skill set here in Dominica, especially now as we embark on the task of building a climate resilient nation. I admire their sense of patriotism and love for this country. I have therefore again advised the relevant authorities in government to effect a system whereby, come January 2019, the outstanding balance on the accounts of all graduates who have returned to Dominica and who are either working or in the process of seeking out employment shall be slashed in commemoration of this particular anniversary of independence. Shall be slashed by 40%. Whatever they owe Aid Bank and other institutions for their student loan, the government shall absorb 40% of the remaining balance as a means of saying, congratulations on your achievement, Thanks for returning home, and we are grateful for what you're doing to help build a climate-resilient Dominica. And while I am on the topic of education and scholarships, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank those governments and universities abroad who have continuously, over the past 18 years, sponsored and embraced our students on full and partial scholarships. This has been of tremendous help, not only to their families, but to the government of Dominica, which was otherwise able to finance the upkeep and improvement of primary, secondary, and Dominica State College education. In this regard, I feel compelled this evening to single out what I refer to as the Dean of Scholarship Providers, the government of the Republic of Cuba, for its sterling record in this area of providing scholarships to our students. The Republic of Cuba came to our aid at the dawn of our political independence 40 years ago and has never flinched in its commitment to providing full educational scholarships for Dominicans in various disciplines. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Today, I ask His Excellency Juan Carlos Fromenta de la Rosa to convey our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to his government on its continued demonstration of solidarity, friendship, and commitment to the people of Dominica through retention of the Cuban Scholarship Program for all these 40 years thus far. My dear people, we have an opportunity now to work together to make this country truly great. We are 40 today, and in 10 years we shall celebrate 50 years as a sovereign, independent nation. But before we look to 50, we must reflect from whence we came as a nation. My generation is fortunate to be building on the foundation as laid by others. As we look back on the last 40 years, this country has been blessed to have had some very strong and competent leaders. Sadly, some have gone to the great beyond. I think here of Dame Mary Eugenia Charles, Rosie Douglas, and Pierre Charles. But we are fortunate that several are still with us today to share in this moment of national pride and celebration. I think here of our very first Prime Minister and the man who led us into independence and who was there to raise the very first flag on the day of our independence. Today, we salute Patrick John, our first Prime Minister. Then also, there is O.J. Serafin and Edison James. Reflecting on their contributions to our development, I am not satisfied that we have been as kind and generous to our past leaders as we should be. I can understand what might have obtained 20, 30, or even 40 years ago, but this is not acceptable in today's Dominica, and it will not be perpetuated under my watch as Prime Minister. Accordingly, I propose as my first order of business on Tuesday morning to write the current leader of the opposition with a view to enlisting his support for the setting up of a bipartisan committee of the current Parliament of Dominica to look at and make recommendations for the enactment of a past leaders protocol whereby henceforth it will be etched in law and practice the manner in which we acknowledge and reward the contributions of those who have served at the highest level. I do not wish to anticipate the work and recommendations of that committee, but I am persuaded that at this stage of our development, No former leader should be receiving as a pension anything less than the current salary of a minister of government. Also, that they should not have to drive themselves or seek out transportation to official events. And furthermore, that they should be provided a state-sponsored vehicle every 5 years. That's my view on the matter, and I will share this at the inaugural meeting of the committee, which I hope can be convened before the end of this month. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, attainment of the age of 40 means that we must think and act maturely. We have the future in our gaze, and fortunately, with the blessings of the Almighty Father in our hands, we must determine now the type of future that we want for Dominica. Where do we wish to be at 50? What do we have to do from now to get there? How do we start? Somewhat quietly, ladies and gentlemen, the landscape of this island is becoming drastically transformed with the construction of several world-class hotels and hospitality establishments. Today is a holiday, and it's also the weekend. I want you, my dear people, to drive around this country. Drive to the north, the south, the east and west, and see the amount of construction that is going on around Dominica. Do not sit in your homes listening to the naysayers and doomsday forecasters. Get out and see what is going on in Dominica. Go view the new housing developments that are taking place around the country. Pass by the hospital, swing by the Douglas Charles Airport, drive on the highway to Portsmouth, and go see what is happening in the north and east of the country. Visit some farms and get an idea of what is really happening in the agricultural sector in this country of ours. Dominica is moving, ladies and gentlemen. Dominica is on the move again. In my excitement, I digress, ladies and gentlemen. But I was making the point that hundreds, indeed thousands of Dominicans will find permanent work over the next 5 to 10 years in the hospitality sector. Starting as early as mid-2019, we will have the opening of our very own Jungle Bay Resort, and this will be followed soon after by the world-renowned Kempinski, Marriott, and other international brands. We must, as a nation, be ready for this period. We have to have a workforce that can dispense the level of service that is required and which is expected at the 4- and 5-star level. The developers and management companies will play their part, I am sure. But I believe the time has come for Dominica to fast-track the establishment of a modern hospitality training institute, whereby not only unemployed and underemployed persons can go for training, but also where existing government and private sector employees desirous of pursuing a new career or second career can also access high-quality training in the various disciplines of the hospitality sector. I will very shortly be taking before the Cabinet of Ministers a paper which would provide for leave of absence to be granted to existing government employees desirous of pursuing training in hospitality services, whether it be hotel management, food and beverage, housekeeping, landscaping, engineering, or administration. I want for Dominicans to be ready and qualified to assume senior and managerial positions in these new hotels that will be opening. Therefore, in the weeks ahead, we shall be consulting regional and international agencies with a view to establishing a national training facility for persons desirous of working in the vital tourism and hospitality sectors. This venture shall again be funded fully with proceeds from the Citizenship by Investment program. So this 40th anniversary of independence, ladies and gentlemen, must and will be used as the staging point for us to ready Dominica for its 50th anniversary celebrations. By then, we would have achieved the enviable status of becoming the world's first climate resilient nation. By then, our tourism product and plant would have caught up with and surpassed many, if not all, competing destinations. By then, the new Dominica-China Friendship Hospital would have been long opened and would be dispensing world-class healthcare to Dominicans and visitors from near and far. By then, we would have had a modern cruise ship village, resplendent with high-end duty-free shopping and quality entertainment. By then also, we would have an international airport receiving direct jet services from Europe, North America, Asia, and very importantly, the African continent. Only last week, I met with the President of the Republic of Ghana, and he lamented the challenges they have in accessing these islands, inhabited by persons whom they refer to as brothers and sisters. So the horizon is bright, my dear people. At age 40, it is not midlife for Dominica. Age 40 is rebirth for Dominica. Age 40 is the dawn of the new Dominica. This country is moving, my dear people. Dominica is on the move again. At age 40, there are also some adult conversations we need to have as a nation. Capital punishment is one of them. Is it still a deterrent? Is it humane? What objective does it achieve? Is it desirable? Is there another and a better option of punishment? This is an issue that we have to confront sooner rather than later and adopt a position. Your government will, in the months ahead, seek out perspectives from various enlightened groups internationally and share them all with you. In this way, the position we finally arrive at can be informed and sound based on reason and facts rather than emotion. Decriminalization of limited quantities of marijuana and the use of certain potencies of marijuana for medicinal purposes is another issue we must confront, having reached the age of 40. Dominica does not need anyone to dictate to it what its policy on this issue should be or must be. I, Roosevelt Skerrit, might very well vote no on this issue, but it is not for me to impose my personal likes and dislikes, nuances and preferences on you, the people of Dominica. We are today 40 years of age, and that is the phase at which we discuss these issues with a measure of maturity and arrive at a position in the best interest of the country. So the issue of whether to allow the use of medicinal and or recreational marijuana is a matter that will also come under the microscope in an open and transparent manner in the months ahead. As a matter of fact, the first national consultation on the decriminalization of marijuana and its use for medicinal purposes will be held on November 16, 2018. Dr. Donald Peters has been appointed as National Coordinator for this initiative. But I want to say to you, in respect to the decriminalization of marijuana, we as a country must be very, very careful about exposing our young minds unduly to this substance. So whatever we do in respect to this, we need to ensure that we properly and adequately protect our children and the young people of this country. And I will say to you that marijuana or the use of marijuana is not going to be an economic transformation of Dominica. That's not going to change our economic well-being, my friends. So let us not depend on it, but we believe that certain portions of marijuana needs to be decriminalized to allow persons to have access to it. These are matters, my dear brothers and sisters, that we can no longer mutter under our breaths. I tend, as a person, to walk the conservative line, and I know that the party I have the honor to lead is not too distant in its thinking from me. But this is a democracy. In a country celebrating 40 years of political independence and sovereignty, and therefore we feel strongly that the views of the public should and must be heard on these matters. So be warned, my friends, that at age 40 means us having enlightened, mature discussions on matters that will impact our way and quality of life in the years ahead. We are part of the international community, and just as we are in the vanguard of raising global awareness on the issue of climate change, so too must we not shirk our responsibility to adopt and assume positions on other current and emerging international issues. With all of these issues affecting us, I am here today, ladies and gentlemen, to say to you that age 40 is a defining moment for Dominica. Our path ahead is exciting, but shall also be challenging. Our confidence must be bolstered by our phenomenal record of achievements over the past 4 decades. Some will argue that today our cup is half empty. The progressive and visionary among us, however, will contend that it is half full. Indeed, I dare say that I think right now Dominica's cup is 3/4 full. I met with Dominicans in Canada 2 weeks ago, and I invited them to continue flying the Dominican flag with pride and honor. We need to get out there and be known. I do not blame any visitor who today confuses Commonwealth of Dominica with the Dominican Republic. I blame all Dominicans at home and abroad for this confusion 40 years on, and I share in that blame as well. If people do not know about us, it is our fault. If they do not have a positive view of us, it is our fault, because we need to get out there and market this country. Today, I make a special appeal to all Dominicans living at home and abroad. Do not be distracted by the few in our midst who see and say nothing positive about this country. As a matter of fact, we should all ignore them. We need to believe in Dominica and to promote this beautiful island. If I, as Minister of Finance, I have to spend every cent we earn on media advertisements to tell people about Dominica and to come visit and invest in Dominica, then we would have no money to underwrite the cost of social services. We would have no aid to give farmers. We would have depleted funds and no way to sponsor the education of our children. I believe that with 72,000 marketing managers resident at home and more than 10 times that number residing on every continent in the world, there is no need for me to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in newspaper, magazine, and television advertising. Granted, we still have to spend some, but it doesn't need to be excessive. I need Dominicans to market Dominica. I need Dominicans to cease speaking ill of Dominica. I need anyone who has a few minutes on international television to not tell the world how bad Dominica is and that they should not acquire citizenship of this country. Rather, I need any patriotic Dominican with an opportunity to do the opposite, my dear brothers and sisters. I need you to promote our safety, promote our food and culture, promote the warmth of our people and the stunning beauty of our landscape. We need to stop the crying down and tearing down this country of ours. Of course, there are those who cannot help themselves and who will never have anything positive to say about this country. But that is why they are where they are and shall remain there for a very long time. Those of us who love this country and who wish to see it prosper must now commit to the task of defending and promoting its honor. Promote the new hotels, promote continuous improvements in healthcare, promote the high rate of literacy, speak about the number of graduates in each family, and about the relatively low rate of crime and antisocial behavior. Those who travel and live abroad must invite their friends and work colleagues to vacation in Dominica next year and beyond. Let them start planning for Christmas 2020, for by then they will stay in the 4- and 5-star property of their choice, driving on well-lit and paved roads to attractions that are safe and entertaining. The prospects for Dominica are enormous, my dear people. By December 2020, we shall have a modern state-of-the-art hospital. We shall have the newest housing stock in the Caribbean. We shall have a modern cruise village with high-end duty-free shopping for all. I want Dominicans on this, the occasion of our 40th anniversary of independence, to step away from the negativism and enter the positive realm of thinking. Turn your backs and shield your ears from those who constantly tear us down. They are angry people. They cannot help themselves. Let us set ourselves meaningful and realistic goals for the next 5 and then 10 years. Let us start to paint pictures in our minds of Independence 2028. Where do you want to be in life? Where do you wish Dominica to be? Let us commence the journey to 50 today. This day marks the start of a 10-year journey where we reach as a people is entirely within our minds and capacities to determine. The world is rooting for Dominica. They wish to see us succeed. Let us not disappoint. Let us not flinch. We defeated the mighty Hurricane Maria. Never forget that, ladies and gentlemen. We can triumph over whatever befalls us in the next 10 years. This country, Dominica, is on the road again, my dear people. There shall be no stopping us now. There shall be no stopping Dominica now. We are on the road again. I want to recognize all our citizens who will be honored today with our country's awards. And in particular, I want to recognize Dr. Honeychurch. Dr. Honeychurch has been with us for all of his 40 years, our journey as an independent nation. I consider him to be a national treasure, national icon, one who has educated every single citizen with our historical facts and our history as a people. And I say to you, Dr. Honeychurch, that you are certainly deserving of this highest award our country can bestow upon you. All of you. And just to say to you, and I know my friend from Scott said, Mr. Cleve Tavernier. Those who know Cleve Tavernier knows that Cleve Tavernier is opposed to me politically, and very strongly so. Though I hope one day he shall see the light, you know. But one cannot question the fact that he has made a meaningful contribution to his church, his community, and country. And I want to congratulate him. And all of you who will be awarded here today, all of you, I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for making Dominica what it is today. Dominica is grateful for this. So happy Independence, Dominica. May God continue to shine his blessings upon this beautiful country of ours. Let us remain positive. Let us have positive views about ourselves and our country. And let no one tell us we cannot achieve our dreams and goals for our country and ourselves. I want you, my dear brothers and sisters, to go forward and serve your Lord and serve your country May God bless this beautiful country. I salute you. Happy Independence, happy 40th anniversary. Forward we go, ladies and gentlemen. No stopping us now. Dominica is on the move again. Dominica is on the road again. We defeated Hurricane Maria, and we shall defeat everything in our way to our progress, knowing that the good Lord is on our side, and if God is with you, go. God is with us, ladies and gentlemen. All we have to do is to continue to remain on the side of the Lord, and all shall be well. I salute you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless us. Finally, I want to say to us as parents that we must take care of our children. We must take care of our children and our future generation. I want to say to us, each of us must take on our responsibility in society. We must not abdicate our responsibility. We must take on our responsibility if we're to achieve our goals for our country. I love Dominica. Do you love your country? Do you love your country? I want to hear you. Do you love your country, Dominica? I will say too, I love you very much, and thank you for the courtesy of listening to me this evening. Thank you very much.